can see my screen and hear me. Otherwise, I'd be probably hearing from Scott and Andy right now. Good. Hey, Andy, how's it going?
Hey, Steve, what's happening, buddy?
Good. All right. So, for those of you not aware, it's vacation season at Trade Ideas. Barry, the great moderator of the live trading room, has been gone, and Andy and myself have been kind of filling in for the live trading room. And Barry will be back in the trader's seat Thursday. So you're stuck with us again tomorrow and Wednesday if you're there regular there in the live trading room. And as you'll notice, Jamie is not here either. Jamie decided to also take some little vacation time. So yeah, no problem. I'll hold down the fort. We can do that. We are flexible here. We can all fill in. So I'm going to talk about a few things today. First thing is first, of course. We will do the disclaimer reminding you Trade Ideas is a content publisher, and anything that you hear on here should not be construed as investment advice. If you need investment advice, talk to a registered broker or an RIA, and just be aware they're probably going to put you into index funds and charge you a point or two. So with that said, today's class, we're going to wing it a little bit, again, because Jamie's not here, but we'll do the traditional market recap. I'll get Andy to weigh in as well as myself, and maybe the winds are changing here a little bit. Things are starting to be a little different, and we'll discuss some of those things. I figured since we've got Andy here for about 20 minutes, he's got to run before the bottom of the hour, but I think there's a lot of spillover of people that are in the live trading room today, and this might be a great opportunity to at least go over a few of the trades that happened in the room today and maybe take some questions or look at the methodology, the reason why entries were taken and certain exits were taken, and discuss the virtues of scaling in and scaling out. I think it's a very important consideration. We've got a new top list I'm going to show you. It's basically one of Mr. Merkin's mad scientist mock-ups, but I think it's got some unique value to it, and so we're going to go through that and look at what the value is. It's called efficient movers. It's another way of looking at low float type stocks, going beyond just low float. And then I've got one more tip on backtesting another strategy that's actually a Holly strategy. So for those that are interested, this is one that I actually have on my desktop. Hello, let me turn that off. Of course he calls right this time. Yeah, so we'll be back doing some back testing, and then I'm going to optimize and show you just a little quick tip on how to make that work better for you. And then given some time, we'll just look at some charts and maybe set a few price alerts going forward and continue to use the price alert feature. So with that said, let's pull this out of here, and let's get right into the spiders. I'll kind of start first, and then if Andy wants to chime in and add anything, he's more than welcome to. As I zoom out here, once again, we're looking at these key levels that we have kept in this chart for a while, but there's one key level that's not in here, and that's about the 210 level. And that was a level that we've kind of talked about, but never really marked up on the chart. The 210 level is right about here, 209. Actually, it looks more like 209 roughly than 210. But this was a level that had been defended a few times, roughly 2, 3, 4 times as we pushed up through those highs. And market is either one or two things, either taking a breather and going to regain itself and move back up, or this is the beginning of something different and new. And chances are, it could be the beginning of something new. We blew through those levels today, that support level of 209-ish, and again, 4 days in the past have held up for the most part above 209, but today, the 330
was actually finished positive on these days and actually moving up along with the market, so it was decoupling. And on that first day right there, I actually called it out in the room that, hey, listen, I do not play this to the long side very often, but when I see this happening, it really gets my interest, and that is the market moving higher, but this moving higher with the market. It tells me there was some
insurance being purchased.
Some puts being bought, people protecting their positions and locking in those profits, and lo and behold, we've had a very nice move in that one. Like I said, I've been telegraphing it the whole way. I did sell some more today, around 15. Still have some left. But anyway, I guess the point I want to make, because this is something I've always done, when you have an eye, keeping an eye on the market after an extended run, and you do start to notice that the VIX is holding up. First of all, it stops going down, and then it starts to actually creep up with the market. It just tells you that, hey, people are getting nervous for whatever reason. They're starting to buy some protection, and that's something that it can really, if you catch that right, it can really pay off nicely.
And here's another example, of the live trading room ideas. It's not all about day trading. Andy said he called this out and noticed an anomaly back here and has been holding it every day. He came in and been holding it. So once again, here's a great example of how a day trade can many times turn right into a full-on swing trade, just being patient and letting things work for us. So good job for Andy showing in real time the room how to go ahead and take some things home and some of the reasons for so. So it's not just a live day trading room, it's a live trading room with a lot of different ideas being kicked around. And this was kind of an unusual idea because we have not seen this in a while. And he made a great observation about just noticing, the difference in what the spiders were doing versus what the insurance protection was being bought. So there was kind of a telegraph there, and it was a good job calling that out. What would you like to look at next?
Well, not a whole lot of action today in the market. Probably the next best trade was, and I actually kind of telegraphed this. Unfortunately, I kind of missed it in the early going. If you pull up EBIO,
here's the 15-minute chart of eBio.
Yes, and this is one I just learned just studying bios through experience. Okay, the news on this one is they got a license deal with Roche, and they received an upfront payment of about $7 million, and gets potential milestone payments of like $262 million. But the word potential is very critical in this situation. Mm-hmm. And typically, when I see a smaller, $2 company, getting a deal with a big company like Roche, who do you think is going to end up getting the better part of that deal? So, and this is just kind of through experience. So I came in, I said, I went out and I got a borrow from the broker and borrowed some. And this is one I really wanted to short at 350. I actually set an alert. But at 350, but I got a little bit discombobulated this morning because
yeah. When Trade Ideas had a bit of a glitch this morning, and everybody, I understand it's been the same for me over the years, the same for Andy over the years. We get so used to this great tool that when this tool locks up on us and doesn't spit out any data and has a bug, literally, I get it. We all kind of freeze and go, oh, wait a minute. You just put one hand behind my back. Do I really want to be dealing with this? So there's nothing wrong with having that lined up, but then all of a sudden we're dealing with Trade Ideas issues, and it kind of took our attention away from that. But there was a secondary setup that I think you did a good job on.
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, I had my borrow out there. I didn't want to let that go to waste because you do have to pay a little money when you get these borrows. So I was watching it. Earlier in the day, I tried it around the 260, I think it was 268 level, and you can see it had a little pop up there. I got out pretty quick for a small loser, but then I continued to watch it because I knew the weakness was there, and it kind of just started stair-stepping down there as the day continued. And then when it got down to my level again, I said, hey, it could break this time, so I put on another short at 268. And then finally I got my I got my break in it, started covering it just below 250. I think I covered some a little above 250, and then it broke further. Anyway, I ended up covering my last around the 240 area. So it was a nice little trade. I was glad I was able to capitalize on my borrow there. But I think the importance there is people have a tendency to get so, and I'm like most traders, I prefer to trade the long side. But when you get these stocks gapping up 100%, just be careful. Read the news. It sounds like great news. Maybe in the long run it will be great news. But I just know from experience, a lot of these pissant biotechs, I like to call them, you got to be careful. Getting too excited, because I guarantee you there were traders long this stock, scratching their head, banging their fist on the table all day long, can't figure out why. With this good news, you're just going to sell off all day. But
Well, it's still closed up. It just
Yeah,
didn't close up as much. I
right.
mean, it's still a net change for them, though. So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, any other trades you wanted to talk about today that we did in real time?
Let's see. Other than that one, like I said, it was kind of choppy. I thought Walgreens was doing pretty well, but the WBA, uh, you can see there it had, I kind of caught this late and caught it around 83.38. And unfortunately, this is sometimes what happens. I got jigged out down on that. You can see the low of that green bar next to it probably.
Mm.
Anyway, I ended up getting out for a small loser, and this is one where I'd like to, keep an eye on it. Probably what I should have done is kept an eye on it and then rebought it, but that had potential because if you look at the daily, it was sitting there attempting to take out the prior day high. So if you want to show that daily real quick, see.
Sure. Let's just hang on one second.
Oh, no
Okay.
problem. Yeah, and you can see what I was looking at there. It had huge volume on Friday, and then we started getting up there and flirting with that high, but and then finally broke through and had a nice run. But that one had potential. It was called out. I hope some guys caught it in there. Unfortunately, I got out for a small loser, and then I was focusing, I guess, on my eBio trade because that was happening about the same time, and I didn't get a chance to buy this back. But I'm thinking I saw some other guys who were able to capitalize on that trade, so that was what some of the guys were trading in there. But I think a good thing to point out today, especially when you've been in this market for 3 months like we've been, it's been easy to get caught up and when you see the market moving higher. And today there was a lot of head fakes I noticed, and that's what I was sitting on my hands a lot, not wanting to chase stocks because it just had a different feel to it, especially after Friday. And of course you can see what happened eventually in the market, but. If you're not good at playing the short side, I would say in a market like this, just be careful, on the long side is when you're intraday trading because it's not you can really get hurt trying to chase momentum because a lot of the momentum seems to stop really quick and they can turn very fast on you. But and I did notice a lot of stocks reversing really quick, so I think. End up being a productive day, but I think probably the patience by not chasing probably helped me as much as anything today.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we haven't seen this in a while, closing on lows after some weakness. So again, this is kind of new. We will see where it takes us. All right. Well, thanks, Andy.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Well, what's next? Maybe talk a little bit about Holly. Once again, it was a very light day, and that's what we have to focus on. The statistical engine took only 5 trades. The initial ones that went short both got a time stop, and one was a stop hit, but both of those, as you can see, the non-exit profits, those shorts actually did work out okay to the downside. I think a few people in the trading room were calling out the FNV as a possible re-entry to the short side because Holly, it was a time stop, but there was a lot of carryover through on that one. And on the breakdown, COR originally was a stop hit, getting caught in kind of what Andy was talking about earlier, a lot of the chop and the back and forth noise of the market. But eventually that one did prove to be a good trade as it went lower after Holly got stopped out. So Holly took the hit of 44 cents, but the trade went on to definitely work in the favor. So 2 days, Monday, today, and Friday of 0 trades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades in 2 days. This is telling us, once again, the value of Holly is that there is no statistical probability trades out there. She's trading casino-type odds using the back testing and the optimization to try and get these strategies working as well as possible. But we're not getting any decent trades. We're not in terms of volume of trades. And the ones that are being taken are quick in and quick out, but the frequency is very, very low. And that really should tell us that the statistical probabilities that the AI is looking for, they are just not there. So that's the real big takeaway, in my opinion, I think, regarding Holly. I'm going to just tempt you a little bit here. This fade the 52-week high. This is something that I actually have, and we're going to back test a little bit going forward, and we're going to do a few more exercises and back testings. But for now, I'm going to introduce something to you that Dan Merkin has come up with. We're going to talk a little bit about the way in which we might want to use this thing. I named it Efficient Movers, and it's a top list. And we'll go through the configuration here and kind of see what the guts are inside here. But a lot of these columns are not filtered, and of course we can sort by these columns. Now I'm going to turn these text headers off just to start with to show you something. This particular filter has what's called a custom filter, and there's two of them. When I turn the text headers off, if you ever see a value called a U with two numbers behind it, we've got U22, which is daily efficiency, and we've got U99, which is percent of the float traded. These are custom formulas that can be added in for you just with a simple request. And I'm going to guess that after I go through this, some people are going to probably want this window, but this window is not going to work correctly unless you've got your custom filters in here. So let's talk a little bit about this first one, U22, because this one is what is being sorted. So we're going to go back and select text headers again so we can really see exactly what these symbols mean. Efficiency. Now this is something that really only Trade Ideas has, to my knowledge. You know, it's us once again playing with the data that we have, creating new levels of interest. Efficiency. And now if we try to describe efficiency, it's not in the Trade Ideas documentation. So let's look at it like this. It's a way of looking at how much dollar value really is needed to push some of these stocks around. And of course, the biggest component of that would be the float, the size of the float. And so what efficiency really is it's looking at the size of the float, and then it's finding out what percent of dollar volume is needed to really move that thing around. And so in this particular case, the float is only 3 million, so we can see 3.7 million, very, very small float. I don't even know if there's a short float position in here. If there isn't, we should probably add it. There it is. No, that's the share float. I don't think he has that in there. We need to improve this. So let's go ahead. We're going to configure and use our handy-dandy search window. We just type a keyword like short float, and we're going to just click Add Show Column. We're just going to pop that right into our mix. Now, that should be just on the outside here. There it is, short float. I'm going to stick that next to the float of shares. The lower the share float size and the higher the short float percentage could mean some more explosiveness. But in this case, again, what we're looking at, this efficiency column that Dan came up with, is essentially the higher the number, the better, is what it says there in the description. And if we kind of reverse engineer some of this, we can look back and we can see it only took $138,000 worth of capital to move this particular stock 65%. This change from the close, change 53%. That is a highly efficient, we will call that, probably one of the most efficient. And as a matter of fact, it's this GBIM stock. And I've been hearing a lot today that there might be some news of, I don't know, some possible changes in their S8 or whatever it is they filed in terms of, I don't even know. I'm not even going to speculate, but I know that it's worth looking into, because the whole idea is not for this to tell us why it's doing what it is. It's just bringing to our attention an anomaly. And in this case, the anomalies this new one is bringing to our attention is which stocks can be knocked around the easiest with the least amount of money. Well, once again, this GBIM here is at the top of the top list because it appears only $138,000 worth of capital was needed to move this stock 53%. Let's look down here. This one was $165,000 of capital to move this one 59%. So this efficiency number is the higher the better, and the higher the number, the more easy it is to push this particular stock price around. So as we do with most things on the top list is we try and sort by what we want to see, and in this case we're just sorting by efficiency. If we look down to something more tame and mundane here. Let's look at, for example, let's just find something really simple. Okay, this one, Taco, Levi Acquisition Corp. Not very efficient. Took $1.35 million worth of capital to move this thing 4.8%. So if we can go even lower, we start to see probably some bigger type well-known names. AMD Circuit, 102 million it took to move this stock, 1.9%. So, again, this is a different way of, and I don't know anybody else doing it, trying to find stocks that are coming to the top here. So, that being said, let's take a look at some of these ones at the top. Again, GBIM, I know there's something going on today having to do with maybe the shares or some sort of reporting to the SEC. Do your own due diligence on that one, but there's something going on there. DRAM. Here's a stock that moved rather quickly as well. We can also take a look at my single stock window. No real short float, but stocks coming to life here on the efficient movers. Let me try and pull this down a little bit. And I'm kind of going through with you guys here essentially for kind of the first time, since this was just kind of delivered to me. Okay, here's another one that wasn't doing much, but all of a sudden has got some movement behind it. There is one on here there's a couple that I liked. This BioStage, BSTG. Well, this one's slipping down here in the efficiency, but still, it didn't take much movement to make this thing move 5% today. And as I zoom in here on the daily chart, I'm finding something of interest. Here was a level that was tested at $1.08 and bounced right off of that. So, maybe if there's any follow through today off this high at 125, we'll call it 126, any follow through tomorrow, if this thing still has some good efficiency with it, there could be some nice easy movement continuing to the upside. Efficiency top list.
It's pretty interesting.
It's just we talk a lot in the daily room about, oh, that's a low floater, but there's a bit more to it. It's a low floater, but if you dig down deep inside, there could be some more data points to look at to try and come up with this proprietary column here for trade ideas called efficiency. I think IPI. Did somebody mention IPI in the room today, Andy? I don't recall.
I did. I mentioned it a couple of times. Yeah, I kept coming through the top predator list.
Yeah, well, it was coming through the top predator, and it's also very highly efficient. It only took 2.1 million to move that thing 18%. So really nice move off of the bottoms here. And again, IPI short float 18%. Nothing to sneeze at. But this is probably worth at some point, if it can get back above these levels, here and here is what I'm looking at for the most part. We're going to want to set an alert for that. And I'm going to remind myself high efficiency. IPI, 19% short. Anything I can do to jog my mind when these alerts come out, I'm going to do that right now. It's a good point. Thanks for reminding me of that. I want to get maybe one more. So there was the IPI, and then there was the other one that we did, BSTG. So again, looking through the Trade Ideas proprietary stuff here to try and find the things that are not being discussed right now by Dennis Gartman and the Fast Money guys on CNBC. They're not seeing these type of high-level alpha potential screamers that could come out of the gate, and nothing has alpha all over it, like what we kind of discovered here, this market efficiency metrics. How much money does it take to move this thing? A significant portion of percent. So that's a great question. Thanks for reminding me of that. Let's go in and take a look and see what we got here. Okay, once again, top lists do not have new highs and lows. They're nothing but a set of filters. And on these filters, this is what we got. No real price discrimination. Anything down to $1 is going to make it, as we saw earlier with both of those two stocks. But we cap it off at 1,000. The 5-minute volume, we've got to have some interest in the 5-minute short-term zone, so we turn to 5-minute volume. Nothing really special, 200%. We can usually find those, but a good minimum to add to make sure that we're not looking at slop in here that's dormant and in a permanent coma. We want to see stuff that's coming to life. Change from the close, this is the basic only show me stuff that is positive on the day. And again, a quick reminder for those of you that don't use these show me buttons, it's kind of like check your work once you've got your data point in there. There's my data point, and the server understands that we're looking for price that was up at least 0.01 from the previous close. All right, perfect. That's exactly what we want. What we've done here is we've put out everything that's negative, net change negative on the day. No red stocks, just green stocks. Volume today, which is another one of our volume metrics, we have to print at least 100,000 shares on the tape before these will come to life. Not a problem, so that's an easy one. Gap. We're basically constricting the gap. We're taking, let's go ahead and check our work here. We're making sure that the open was no more than 3 bars above the previous close. So we don't want things that are gapping up and getting away from us. And when we say bars, we've got Trade Ideas basically calculating the average bar range for each particular stock. So the algorithm knows exactly what a bar should be, but we're keeping this, rather tame by not letting it gap up too much, it appears. What else do we have? That is really it. So everything else on here is what we call either a custom filter or just a column to keep an eye on. The only things we're filtering for is price, 5-minute volume, change from the close, got to be positive, and you have to have printed 100,000 shares today without gapping up 3 bars. But what we do, and again, for those of you that want this alert, and I do see the comments coming in, I'm going to drop this alert in the window, but you are going to need a second step, and I've alerted Marissa, who's in the other end of info at Trade-Ideas, that there's probably going to be some people today calling in saying, hey, can you please add the custom filters that we need to run the efficient movers, and they'll know that on the back end. They'll know that you need, let's just take a look here again. If we take properties and turn off text headers, we're going to need U22, and you're going to need U99 also. U22 is really the crux of this one because that is our efficiency column. We're not scanning for it, but we're kind of deriving it, and so this is the one we do want to see. So this window is going to mean nothing to you guys unless you have the U22 filter. And again, you'll have to pull info. You'll have to, I'm going to type it in here, info@trade-ideas.com, and ask about the efficiency top list. I'll send that out there as well. I'm going to drop the code right now, just so you have the base code. Save and share. I'm going to put this into the chat window. And let me open up the chat window. So we'll drop that in there, and I'm going to also type in info@trade-ideas.com.
Okay, Steve, while you're doing that, I have to step away. I got to pick my daughter up from school. She'll be out here pretty soon, so this won't be an issue in the future. But I kind of stepped in for Jamie, and but
yeah, appreciate that.
All right. Well, good luck, Steve, and I'll talk to you guys. Hopefully, I'll see a lot of you guys tomorrow in the chat room.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Bye-bye. Okay, so I've loaded into the chat window now the actual code for this, but you're going to need to email info@trade-ideas.com to ask for the U22 and the U99 code. The U99, let's just go back again. We'll just turn off the text gibberish and go back to text headers as percent of float traded. So not only can we see that this GBIM was an unbelievable alpha mover today, 53% with a very low float, only moving on $138,000 worth of volume, but you can see that it actually turned its float over almost twice today. Traded a total of 185% of its float. 100 would be the value of its baseline float. So interesting metrics there. So again, just kind of playing around with this one. I would focus only on the top levels up here as we start to get down below. Again, we're looking for efficiency. The higher the number, the better. And 2 amazingly high efficiency score numbers on here were for GBIM and DRAM, and then it starts to pull back a little bit. But that's the crux behind this new one that you might be hearing us talk a little bit about, efficient movers, essentially taking a low volume float and kind of taking it to a next level of observation and analysis. Okay. Volume today is for the whole day, volume up to that time of day. Yes, volume today, that would be up to the current time, and then basically the markets are over now, so this is letting us know that this one traded 420% of normal volume, so 4.2 times normal volume. 233% would be 2.3 times its normal volume. But then we get up here to these ones, we're talking 92 times its normal volume. I think I might even be wrong about that. 927. I can't even do that math. But those are insane numbers. So put this one away for now. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to be monitoring this one, more often than not in the morning to try and see what's coming up here to the top end of our efficiencies and see which ones really. And again, if you're a brand new trader, I would call these adult swim only because they can move fast and furious. If it doesn't take much to move a stock from A to B, it can move a stock from A to B against you just as quick. So don't fall in love with them because they move quick. They can cut in both directions. All right, real quick, I wanted to highlight, I'm going to take it full circle. We're going to do another back test on this. This is a short strategy. On my desktop, it's called Boyle Band Scalp. And I had some help with this one from one of our great users, Michael Noss. But interesting to note, it's not on here today. I thought it was on here today. Well, the next time you see a Holly trade in the strategy window list called, I believe, Bollinger Reversion Scalp, that's essentially, I say, the same strategy as we're going to back test right now. What you got to remember is what Holly gets is a giant back test that will return maybe 2,000 to 4,000 trade results, which is ideal because that's what we want. We can start with a big data sample and then we can whittle it down from there. And so what Holly works with on that is essentially kind of the same thing I'm going to back test here. Real quickly, I'll kind of configure and show you what's going on. The Boyle Band Scalp is looking for intraday movement that is getting a little too ahead of itself on price, but maybe not so much on volume. Because we don't always want to see a lot of volume come through, but this is something that is showing the Bollinger Bands moving through their 15, 5, and 60-minute Bollinger Bands respectively, so they're all minimized at 100. And we're trying to find situations where the price gets a little too far ahead of itself, and maybe we can find a good window of opportunity to catch a short sale as it reverts to the means and takes a breath. So what we're going to do is actually back test and optimize a legitimate Holly strategy here, but I'm going to tie it all together at the very end with one more configuration alert to try and really make it simple so you guys can know when to act on and when to lay off and not act on some of these alert windows when they come through based on the time of day. So we'll start here with our old backtest strategy, and again, let's just open it up, for the most part for the whole day, and timed exit. And this one is going to be a quick. I'm actually going to even maybe lower it to like 35 minutes. We'll see how that goes. It's not going to be much. It's looking for a quick reversion to the mean type of play after something got way ahead of itself. Risk management is always the same for me. If you guys haven't noticed, I use the percent column, and I use a 1% stop loss and a 3% profit target. So either one of these two things happens within that 35-minute test period, the AI backtesting module will close those trades down and put the data accordingly either in the losing category or the winning category. The advanced, I'm going to go ahead and set this, I'll just set for like 40 days or so. Let's just see if we can get a 45-day decent result. And that's about it. So this, again, is a short selling strategy, so we're going to click the short sell button. And real quick, for those of you that don't have the premium feature subscriber, you do have 10 free back tests. Any window that has an A in it, you can go in there and back test. This is available to you, but every time you press the button buy or sell, you're going to get an alert letting you know that you've only got 1 or 2 more left, depending upon how many you've got left. Let's run this again. I want to get some more data. We're just going to take the entire 64 days of trading, and let's just simulate this again. So again, yeah, you guys can play around a little bit with any window that has an A in it and get familiar with the back testing. If you don't have a window with an A in it, you can go to Configure Alerts. You've got some bullish strategies in here that you could launch and back test. And you've got some bearish strategies in here, likewise, that you could launch and backtest just to kind of get familiar with how the backtesting module works. but it gives us always a nice thumbnail, which lets us know going from lower left to upper right. So that's always a good start to decent here. And here we go. So this is essentially the Boyle Bands reversion scalp, as I call it. Going from $50,000 here in the fictitious account would have gone to about 53 or 52 and change. So it's going in the right direction. It's definitely a profitable strategy. But like I always say, let's take a look at this data set up here because we could probably do better. 112 trades. That's a lot of trades, but I think we can do better. 50.9% winner is nothing to write home about. Profit factor. We need a profit factor of like 2.0 or higher. A 1.0 profit factor does us nothing. It's like a coin flip. Every win is covered up by a loss and then covered up by a win, and you never really get anywhere. But when you get to 2 to 1 profit factor, you start to get some traction. You get a couple winners for every losers, and you start to make positive steps in the right direction. So let's optimize this. First thing we do in optimization is click that tab, take a look at the price. I've actually already optimized this price, so I'm not going to do a whole lot with it. I'm just going to leave that as. But what I really want to talk about is the time of day. This just jumps out like a sore thumb. Let's actually go to a 30-day table, open that up a little bit, and here we can see something interesting. Once again, just like I've done before, the first hour of the day is not productive. Here's 14 trades, 16 trades. This is 0.7 profit factor, horrible. 1.6 profit factor, not that great. But then we jump up to 3.38. We have a little bit of an anomaly here midday, but we can't cover that up because we want to participate in all of these trades here. So it looks like this particular strategy seems to work best between 7:30 and 10:30. So we're going to rerun it, just a typical optimization that we normally do. Entry. What did I say? 7:30 my time to 10:30. Again, these are Pacific Coast times. Your times will vary. 7:30 to 10:29. And let's just go ahead and run this, and we should be getting better data, of course, based on that optimization run. Yes, Frezine, you'll have to email info@trade-ideas.com, and they can drop the U99 custom filter. It only has to happen one time, but they can drop that into your account. Sorry I can't do that for you here, but it needs to be done, and you only have to do it one time. Okay, so optimization, a little bit better. We're up over 2.0 profit factor now, 41 trades at 56.1. This is probably, the best we're going to get it. We could go into some more. I could do some optimizations of maybe other filters such as the 15-minute range. Well, there's something that's notable here. It looks like on a 15-minute percent moving range, in other words, how wide does the movement occur in a 15-minute range, that's what that's showing us here. If we wanted to, we could probably try and optimize a little bit, but we're starting to cut some trades out. But what I want to do, again, for the most part, is I want to show you that what we found out, the way in which we're running this optimization, it looks like 7:30 to 10:30 is the best time. And just like I did on the horseshoe alerts and found out what time was the best time available on that, we can now, instead of having to remember which time frames and which hour blocks go to which alert, let's take advantage of the filter that we can use. So now that we know 7:30 to 10:30 is our time frame, let's go ahead and just put in the word time. Time of day is the filter we're looking for, and it's expressed in minutes after the open. So let's add this filter and let's work on it. So time of day, where did it go? Hide unused, so we can find the one that we want. Well, I wasn't using time of day, so let's go back and select that. Add filter. Okay, time of day, here it is. So remember, we have to use the data minutes after the open. Well, we know 7:30 is 1 hour after my 6:30 open, so we'll add 60 minutes. What we just did is we just told this particular alert, I don't want to see any symbols come through until 60 minutes after the open. Okay, so then 90 minutes after the open is going to be 8:30. 120 is going to be 9:30, and so 150. 150 is going to be our maximum minutes after the open. So what we've just done here is we've basically given ourselves the ability to have the filters work for us for what we know is the best time of day for this particular strategy to work, rather than trying to remember, oh yeah, when did that back test? Did that back test good after 7? I can't remember. So here's the lesson, the full circle turnaround here. Once you guys figure out you have a strategy that you like and you've optimized it for the time of day, use the time of day filter to make sure that you're only seeing those stocks coming out during the optimized back test portion of the day. So that is that. And I haven't done that with my horseshoe up. Let's just do that real quick. I mean, I've already configured this. So if I back test it, I can remember exactly. It looks like it was the same thing, 7:30 to 10:30. But in this one, I've only set the first parameter, I believe, of don't show me anything after, there it is right there, 30 minutes. I don't think I want that. I know I want this to be 60. And I know I want this to be just like we did a minute ago, 150. So once again, I'm bracketing my time of day to make sure that I know what time of day these alerts that come out are best traded from the back testing optimized. All right. Yeah, Jennifer, the purpose of alerts is to bring it up and look at it in real time on the charts, and the charts are what really tell us what the footprints in the sand are doing. There really is no buy or sell signal, red sell, green buy. There really isn't any of that. This is ultimately trader discretion, even the trades that come out of Holly, but we know as traders that these are the most statistically probable trades that we have, so we just look at them as another opportunity for a trade idea that's being served up to us in real time. Determining when to take those trades, that is the $1,000 question that requires some time, some effort, some study. There's really no golden goose that says if you do this, you're going to win every time. But what we're doing with trade ideas is trying to put the odds certainly in our favor. All right, so yeah, if anybody was looking or came late and was looking for that efficiency top list window I had earlier, please check the chat window for the configuration of that. And then, of course, you will have to complete the circuit by info@trade-ideas.com email to ask for them to drop in the U22 and the U99, which we call what do we call those? Custom alerts, custom filters. I can't recall. But nonetheless, you only have to have that done once. All right, it's been a long day. Let's see if we can find a couple of trades of the bearish and bullish engulfing. I kind of like these. The bearish engulfing, looking for trades and stocks that have had a couple of days up and then starting to roll over. EMES was definitely a popular one today, but what I don't like about this one is it had every opportunity to sell off below, and you can see there was an alert that was triggered, and that alert did not work because the price was triggered, and then the stops were ran, and then a reversal right back up. So I don't like to see these big giant wicks here. This was more interesting earlier as the red candled body was approaching that prior low from Friday, but now this trade is showing some resiliency. I also really like that giant topping tail wick there, which shows possible reversal in hand. But again, this one probably should have finished with a bit more red in there and didn't. So no more interest there. Two big gaps. Nah, nothing really of interest there. Okay. This is interesting. This is interesting. We've had 1, 2, 3 nice red bars. Today we had a topping tail bar. And now not much of a wick to the downside. I like this one. We're going to set this one as a price alert. The low on this one is 42.21, so we'll go 42.20. Right click. And I'd like to see if this one triggers tomorrow off the bearish engulfing. And let's see, we've got a couple more here. Well, this one was already triggered and is following through, so that's the way I like to see that one. All right. And this one kind of popped back up too after a sell-off. Okay. Read some questions here. Richard, I'm not sure why this can't be put in the channel bar. It's a good question. I'll certainly pass that along and see if it's something that can be done for these custom filters. I believe that's what you're talking about. But that's a good question. Bullish engulfing. These are the exact opposite stocks that were down at least 3 days in a row, but trying to put in a bounce. And the way the market has been as of late, not really seeing a whole lot there that I like as well. Let's take a look at maybe the trend change that I like to use right here. Oops, there's only a couple of stocks on there. Interesting. Once again, very interesting. This trend change lubricant was loaded up last week with a lot of longs, and now it's not really loaded up again. Not really seeing a whole lot there that I like either. Well, not a whole lot set today. And again, I'm not really seeing a ton of ideas going forward, and apparently neither is Holly the AI. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm back. I just out of curiosity, maybe flip that trend change lubricant now and see what kind of.
Like this.
Did you already do that? Okay.
I've had it flipped, and I was actually going. You're good. You read my mind. I was going to move right over to that just in case. And for those of you that are not aware, this was created by taking the trend change lubricant to the upside, creating a duplicate window, then using this flip button. The flip button is really nice to not have to use your brain to invert a lot of these settings. But we did that on the downside. So now we are starting to get a bit more, and it is worth watching. Let's just see. What I'm looking for is something that hasn't run. I'm not looking for a giant red candle because those just seem to be eaten back up. I'm looking for something that's been going sideways but starting to maybe look for some crack in the ice. And that's 3 good days down. Probably don't want to chase that. Don't want to chase that. Really don't want to chase that either. But like Andy says, it's getting interesting that we are starting to get a bit more setups on the downside. You know, a case could be made for this. I wish it hadn't run so far down to come here, but you can see a bottom tail there, a bottom tail there. It just kind of bled through here today. This one could be one to watch. I'm not going to mark it up, but PKI, you know, there could be some follow through to the downside. Let's take a look at these. Again, way too many red candles in a row. You know, this could be interesting. You could consider this a bit of sideways chop, and we kind of tried to break down through that today. I might set an alert just below that to see what's going on. It is a cheap stock.
Well, a lot can be said about that too, because you're looking at a stock that's gone from basically 130 all the way up above 3, and let me tell you something. It's trading below $5 for a reason. So this could be a situation, where anybody that's been in this thing for since $1.50 and below, really tempted to take profits right now. So let's take a look here. Yeah, it is interesting, and I'm sure the longs would love to have seen this move out of that congestion to the upside, but it's not. It's moving out of congestion to the downside. So we're looking for a congestion and something moving out of it. We're not looking to pile onto something that's been down 7 days in a row. Again, you could probably make a case for this. We have some congestion here, and it did break here. Support. Just kind of broke down through that. I'm going to add this one as well. Low of 82.81. Let's go 82.80. And this is going to be a short. It's coded for a short. TCL flipped, so I know where it came from. And saved. Now, in the TCL flips, it doesn't really do us any good to sort by short float percentage. The short squeeze only works on the upside. So what I'll do is I'm going to sort by relative volume on the short side. I want to know which ones are making new lows on good relative volume. We've got to pick something on these top lists. You might as well pick relative volume. That's one of my favorites if I'm not looking for a short squeeze. And when I did that, I just basically undid everything that we were looking at. So let me go back. All right, and where were we? CPS. I think we're getting close to the end. Well, this is kind of interesting too. Very good amount of support there. This one could have some follow through. That one definitely could have some follow through. Let's put a low in there as well. It's 29.70. Nailed it. TCL flipped. And I think we got 2 more to look at. That one already broke down out of its range and has had follow through. A bit late to the party on that one. And well, again, rolled over and had a good amount of fall, even though it did kind of
come close. It still needs to break these levels here, and I'm just going to keep that one as is. And so that's really all I've got for the for setting a few of the alerts here. Anything you want to add? Go ahead.
Well, I want to add something, and actually it brought it to my attention today with the two Holly shorts where she actually got stomped out and they ended up working.
Mm-hmm.
It's not uncommon if we do get in some bearish, action, guys. They say bear markets can wipe out both longs and shorts. And there's a reason for that. Shorting is not easy. It is really an art to it, and it's really easy to get whipped out of a good short. What I like to do in shorts, because once they get going, they can really get going and can pay you. But what I would recommend doing, especially for those guys who are just accustomed to playing the long side, and if you'd like to try doing some short, try setting alert for bounces, because most people are bulls and they like to try to play bounces. But anyway, use your price alerts and set an alert in there in areas where you'd like to get short, and then do it with small size. It's a lot easier to withstand those sudden those bursts to the upside. And then there's a reason why you get those, is because not only you got people trying to pick bottoms, or in trying to catch the next rally higher, but then you also have people rushing to short cover. So that's why it's very difficult to short. So the up moves can be brutal. So I would just kind of recommend, when it comes to shorting, just do it with small size, and give yourself some wiggle and jiggle, because it makes it so much easier. Because once they do start going in your favor, they can move pretty fast.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't forget this time, which I did last week, and I apologize, but the few alerts that we did set here, and the majority of them were short, because I'm looking for all good ideas, but the ones on the short side seem to come a little bit more. So, and considering what we've got going on in the backdraft of the market right now, let's see if we can get a little follow through. It doesn't hurt to throw a few more shorts in the mix. So I just, if you'll notice, copied and selected and shared these working price alerts, dropped them into the chat window. So for those of you who have the TI Premium, you can accept that cloud link and drop those into your price alerts as well. And if they do trigger tomorrow or the next day, well, they're going to trigger for us all together at the same time. So that's what I got for today. If I missed any questions, we'll have to hit them again on Thursday, and that's just a good reason for you guys to come back and do it again on Thursday. So let me say hello to Scott, and Scott can let us know what's going on the options side for picking up a good deal and what's coming up in the future. Let me get the slideshow going, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Just to reiterate, we're a software as a service company, and our core things are our subscriptions. So recently we made them simpler. We used to have a one-time purchase for the AI odds maker, and we just ended up rolling that into what we call Trade Ideas Premium, which is available for just $188 per month or $1888 per year, and that gets you complete unlimited access to our backtesting tool, the odds maker, our AI Holly, and price alerts and some other features that are really integral to the new part of our technology. And we also still offer the TI Pro, which is TI Core. I really need to update this slide. I forgot to do that, but we just call it TI Pro instead of TI Core. But it's your standard $99 a month, $888 per year, and just like the other one, that covers all of your exchange fees unless you're a professional trader. It covers the charting. You also get a complete one-on-one hour of power training session. So as soon as you sign up, go directly to our support section, click on training, and there's a handy little calendar app there where you can find the available times when Steve or Jamie are open to train you, and just pick your best time for that, and it's the best way to get started. So we're offering a code that offers 15% off the top right now on your order. So your first month, your first year, 15% off. Just use that code, office hours. It's all caps. It is case sensitive, but just go ahead and use that. And go ahead and save. You go to tradeideas.com/price and get that. You will get an email tomorrow with a reminder that we have a replay of this session available. And if you want to keep this in our contact information, you can go to our handouts panel on the GoToWebinar interface. There's a little handouts thing with a PDF that you can download that has this page and the next page, which has the important contact information to get in touch with, our support or with Steve. So you can follow Steve at Today Trader. You can follow Dan Merkin, our CEO, at Trade Ideas One. We also have Trade Ideas, and we also have at QuantBot. We post some original content to Facebook sometimes, so you may as well like us on there. It's facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro. Jamie is out of town, but there's his email address, and Steve is easy to find. It's steve@trade-ideas.com. Don't have Andy on there right now, but his is easy too. It's andy@trade-ideas.com. The phone number is the best place to contact for billing issues. However, if you have a technical thing, you want to contact info@trade-ideas.com, because a customer service agent supporting the billing stuff really won't be able to tell you what the best filter is to do this or that or set up a trading strategy. However, our technical support staff does have all those answers. So use info@ for technical support, and use the phone number if you have billing things to talk about. The webinar is recorded. It should be up later tonight or tomorrow morning. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Steve and Andy, for the great presentation. Cheers, guys. Have a good evening.
Yeah. Sounds good. See you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.
All right, guys.